right, welcome back to part 2 of multiple choice. We're going to continue with number 12 through 19, getting ready for an assessment that'll happen tomorrow, Thursday, and finish by Friday. All right, so they ask us for the solution set again, which means it's set equal to 0. You're going to try to factor this side, and remember, you always try GCF factoring first. Well, they're both divisible by 4, and they both have an x in them. So my GCF, I'm going to put it over here, is 4 and x. Now, reverse the distributive property and divide a 4x out of this. You'll be left with 2x. Divide a 4x out of this, and you'll just be left with a 1. So you still split this, and you say, I should have left more room. You say that 4x might be the one that's equal to 0, and you say perhaps it's 2x subtract 1 equals 0. This one takes one move. Divide by 4 on both sides. Well, 0 divided by 4 is still 0. So one answer is 0. This takes two moves. You have to add the 1. 2x equals 1 divided by 2. Okay, so one answer is x is a half. So look for one of those, and it looks like 0 and a half is right here in front of us. Choice number 3. All right, and keep going. Let's check out number 13. And let's put it at the top. There we go. All right, so which of the following represents zeros of this function? Well, same thing. They didn't set it equal to 0 for you, but the rules are the same. If you want to find zeros, you're going to put a 0 where y is. So 0 equals x squared plus 3x subtract 10. Now, that's really weird to me. I just hate seeing that 0 on that side. So if it's all the same to everybody out there, I'll just put the 0 on the right side, and then I'll just factor this. I mean, this is a trinomial, so we're going to get set up with the unfoil. The equals 0 still has to be there. And guarantee me x squared by putting it x times x, so that's going to happen. Multiplying to get a negative 10. I'm thinking positive 5 times a negative 2 will guarantee me that negative 10. Now the only thing I have to check, do the outers, which multiply to be negative 2x, added to the inners, which multiply to be positive 5x, and they add up right there to be 3x. Is that the middle term? It is, okay. So that means you're guaranteed that your work is correct. All right, so now you just go ahead and you would split this and solve. But if you want to cheat a little bit here, if x minus 2 is the factor, the solution, or 0, is going to be x equals positive 2. If x plus 5 is the factor, then the 0, or the root, is going to be x equals negative 5. Remember, parentheses lie. Those are in parentheses. So therefore, the actual answer, or 0, is opposite and opposite. So negative 5 and a positive 2, choice 2. Yeah. All right, what do we got next? Number 14. Okay. Which of the following is the turning point? All right, so this is a little bit of a challenging question, but I'm going to get a visual. I'm going to say that if this was solved and set equal to 0, if x plus 3 is the factor, that means the 0 is x equals negative 3. And x minus 5 is a factor, then the 0 is x equals positive 5. That means on a graph, it hits the x-axis at negative 1, 2, 3. And also at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's where the parabola crosses the x-axis. And I'm just going to draw a rough sketch here, just so you get the idea of what's going on. Remember, parabolas have symmetry, a perfect line right down the center of it. Now the distance from this 0 to this 0 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a total of 8. So half that distance is 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, right here. Right down the middle. So now we have a perfect distance of 4 here and a perfect distance of 4 here. That means the line of symmetry is down the middle, and guess what also lies on the line of symmetry? The vertex. So that should be enough to help us. This vertex is supposed to be 1 comma something, and the only option that offers us 1 comma something is this one, 1 comma negative 16, and all the other ones just don't make sense. So I'm choosing choice 1 on that. And that's all there is for that page. Let's turn it over. Okay, we are up to 15 at this point. The product of 2 consecutive integers. Now, when we studied consecutive integers, we always started out with let x. Now this question uses n, so we're going to use n instead of x. I'm going to say let n equal the first ci. And since it's consecutive, they're right in a row, like one bigger. So 1 bigger than n is n plus 1. So that's our second ci. All right, now remember what the word product means. Product means multiply. So the product of these 2 consecutive integers, meaning this times this. So I'm going to write this equation. N times n plus 1 is, always means equals, 24 more. Well, 24 more is plus, then 6 times the smaller integer. Well, of these 2, n is the smaller, so 6n. All right, so which of these following equations could be used to solve for n? So we don't even have to solve this. We just have to like clean it up a little bit. So n times n is n squared, n times 1 is n, equals 24 plus 6n. Now notice all of these say equals 0, which means I'm going to have to make an algebra move. I'm taking this 6n and subtracting it on both sides. And I can also minus the 24 over at the same time. Remember, don't put things together that aren't like terms. We're just trying to get a 0 over here. That, take away that, this take away this is 0. Then you'll be left with an n squared. These are like terms. N take away 6n is minus 5n, minus 24. And we're looking for an answer that looks like that. That is choice number 3. And we are done there. All right, so 16 I'll do, but I'm going to caution you guys if it's not really going to be tested that much. It's kind of a challenge question. But if you remember, there is a common term. There's an x minus 2. And if that x minus 2 is removed, like a GCF, you'll see the leftovers. Now the leftovers are just what you see. X plus 7. You got a plus sign. And you have an x plus 1. All right, the good news is it's a plus sign, so no fancy add the opposite or anything. Just put the x's together, so it's 2x. And put the 7 and the 1 together to get 8. So this entire parenthesis becomes this. This x minus 2 is still here. And don't forget the equal 0 on the end. So natural, you would still solve this. You could say x minus 2 equals 0. So one answer is 2. The other answer, this kind of factor actually takes more than one step. You have to subtract the 8 over, copy the 2x equals -8. Then you have to divide by 2. So one answer is -4. So we're looking for 2 and a -4. I believe that is a choice 1. All right, so don't stress about that question. I don't really have intent to test that one that heavily. All right, we're looking for something that has the same zeros as this. Now, if it has the same zeros, that means it will have the same factors. So if this was factored, I'd go x and x, and after a little bit of trying, I would eventually come across -10 and +3, and then try to find the zeros. Well, the zeros of this technically will be +10 and -3. All right, now if I take a look at this, this and this are just distinctly different. That's got a 30, that's got a 10. Even if you unfoil it, you can't get the same answers that we got over here. This one here, notice there's a GCF. If you remove the GCF of 2, it turns into this. 2 and then parentheses is x squared minus 7x minus 15. And you could see, okay, it started to look like this, but it's not exact. So this is not going to have the same answers as that would. In this one, notice the GCF is 5. If you remove a 5 from everything, you'll be left with x squared minus 7x, so it's getting close. Remove a 5 out of that, that's going to be minus 30. And it's a perfect match, okay? So that 5 has no bearing on anything. It's just the fact that this matches this. It's going to have the same answer, so we got to go with choice 2. All right, we're down to number 18, almost there. Which of the following represents a turning point? Okay, so when they say turning point, they mean vertex, and there is no two ways about this. They want you to find, boy, that's a T. No, I don't know what I'm talking about, sorry kids. They want you to complete the square. Okay, every time they want you to complete the square, that helps you find the turning point. So rewrite this. Y equals x squared plus 10x plus 35. Just move it. Make some space in here. All right, half this linear term, half of 10 is 5. Square it, you get 25. Add it and subtract it. All right, so these first 3 are your underlines. They turn into the perfect square. Keep the x, keep the sign, half of 10. Boom. These 2 add up to positive 10. And you're ready to go. Parentheses lie, you got -5, and that's the truth, comma 10. Hopefully we have one right there, number 3. And finishing up with number 19. Which of the following represents the correct equation for the parabola shown below? All right, so normally I'd say use the y-intercept and the fact that it opens upwards, but they don't have anything. They got these in factored form. So if you remember, parentheses lie. For choice 1, they're looking for something that crosses the x-axis at x equals -3, crosses the x-axis at x equals +1. That's a no. It does not cross at -3, +1. This is saying it's crossing the x-axis at -2 and +2. That's just not true. Something crossing the x-axis at 5 and -1. Okay, -1 true. but crossing at 5, nothing there. And I sure hope this is it. Crossing at -1, boom. Crossing at 3, 1, 2, 3. Yes, it is. So you're just paying attention to zeros, and that's how you can tell something is a solution. All right, that's all there is to that. If you guys have any questions out there, let me know. Today, you guys are supposed to be working on the next part of this review, and very likely tomorrow I can put out a solution for that. But there will be a Castle Learning opening tomorrow at 8 in the morning, and that will be due by Friday, 11:59 p.m. All right, have a nice day, everybody.